Yeah, I had to put the dog away because of the bear that's nearby right now. So I don't want
Well,
any dog-bear interactions.
I had to let the cat out because he was just crying at the door incessantly. So
Yeah, no, he's a tough cat. That one, you had to let him out of the bag. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Sunday, baby.
Happy Sunday to you. Obviously, we're doing this on opposite sides of the coast. Glad that like 12 hours of trying to figure out how to make this work has paid off, that we are finally making videos from opposite places that we can record.
Pros now.
Yeah, we're basically famous. CBS and CNN will be calling to have us be casters anytime now. So here we are. We're here to talk about Easter Jeep Safari 2026, kind of our closeout, sort of like what we did with King of the Hammers, but we're going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter so people don't have to invest an entire day to watch the video. So I guess first of all, what I'll ask you is, what is Easter Jeep Safari? Oh,
Easter
did you not,
Jeeps.
did you not, did you not prepare? Oh gosh. I'm
Okay, I
sorry to
see
see
how
that.
this is.
Yep.
You know
All right.
what? I'm
Easter
gonna
Jeep.
actually go get one.
All right. So while you're pouring that, so what is EJS?
So Easter Jeep Safari is a week-long event that happens the week before Easter. And it is hosted by the Red Rock Four Wheelers. They have, I think it's over 30 trails. You sign up for the trails, and every single day there's multiple groups going out and hitting trails. They also have a vendor event, and then yeah, so it's just an awesome week of just wheeling Moab and meeting people and doing all the badge trails and all the other fun trails.
Yep. Hard to beat it. So it's in Moab, Utah, and the vendor
Oh,
event is at the Spanish Arena on the
yes.
south side of Moab.
Yes.
All right. So now we know what Easter Jeep Safari is. What's next?
What's next? Well, I was going to ask you, going along with our King of the Hammers, because you got your Jeep within, I don't know, the last 2.5 years. These are all the events that you have been going to for the first time. So I always like to ask you, what's the difference between what did you have in your head that you expected this event to be, and how was that different from your actual experience?
Well, I think Moab's different than what I expected. Moab's a pretty well developed place, and it's nice. There's a lot of amenities and accommodations there. Good restaurants, little foodie scene. Somebody on the Tread Lightly group even called it like the Aspen of, Utah, because it's really a small town that's developed into, some high end properties and things like that. So I don't think I expected it to be quite as developed as it was. Also, I really thought it was going to be more, that it would feel more packed, right? There was a lot of people out there, but I never ran into a scenario like we did at Jeep Invasion or Daytona, where, it takes you an hour to drive a mile down the road because everybody's, lined up driving down the road, throwing ducks at each other and, flashing their rock lights in different colors and all of that. It wasn't really like a Jeep. It wasn't really like a Jeeps on display type event. It was more like Jeeps were there to do the work type of event.
Yeah.
And so, as many people as are out there, and there are a lot of people that go to Easter Jeep Safari, the companies and the people and everybody else, it just never really felt like it was overly crowded. Not a single time did I ever really feel that way. So
Yeah.
that was a polite surprise. Like, I was happy to see that.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it a little bit, and I kept trying to explain it, and I know that you just can't explain it until you get there, but I kept saying, like, there's a ton of people, but it's so spread out, and there's so many things going on that it's very rare that you're going to see a ton of people in the same place at the same
It never
time.
felt like a ton of people. There were, but it
Yeah.
never felt like it. Accommodations. So where did we stay?
We stayed at the Expedition Lodge,
Okay.
right, nice area, right the middle of kind of everything. We were next to a gas station. We were like right next to downtown where all the restaurants were. We were a block from BFG Garage, which was really important for us.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. And they had a free breakfast every morning. We had a place to do some laundry since we were staying for 9 days. That was kind of important. And we had a nice place to bring Dexter back too. Dexter was out on trails all day, is getting a lot of social interaction. And it was just a great spot to just come back and kind of rehab a little bit before we
Yeah,
hit what
absolutely.
was next.
and we chose to do a hotel. So you have basically the options there are you're either camping somewhere, whether it's a campground, BLM land, open space, or you're in an Airbnb, and there was a lot of, Airbnb style places around there as well that you could get, or you're in one of the hotels or motels. And we chose to go with the motel based on A, location, and B, we were coming from really far distances apart. When it comes to hauling the trailer across the country, packing for, a variety of weather options, it was actually just easier for us this time to bite the bullet and get a hotel. And it was probably cheaper than what we would have paid in gas and hauling everything. And there's trade-offs. I think our nights were busier than what we expected, and camping would have forced us to kind of have quieter nights together versus some of the activities. But I really think that we made a smart call this time on doing that. And there were people finding rooms, all the way up to a month or 2 months before the event. So,
Yeah.
that's something that it paid off. Food was good everywhere we ate. We had pretty decent food. What was it? Pasta J's. We ate there. We ate at Moab Garage, Moab Grill. So there was a really good Thai restaurant right down the street that we never got a chance to eat at. That's on the next trip. But
Yeah.
there was all kinds of possibilities for food.
Yeah. I love that place. What was the place we ate at on the corner that one night? They were amazing to us, and they even stayed open a little bit late, and
Yeah.
server was like super nice to us. We had like such a long day that day. We hadn't eaten a real meal in 3 days.
Yeah,
I
that
will
was the
find the name
Wednesday
of
that
that place. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
find
find the
find the
name of
name of
that
that
place and
place and put it
I'll
right
put
there
it in,
somewhere.
yeah, I'll put it in the
Yeah,
comments. I'll put it
I don't
somewhere,
know,
but
somewhere
I
somewhere up on a box.
so let's talk about the events because I knew a little bit about it. What was your take on it?
So the events are not all run by the same people. So Red Rock puts on Easter Jeep Safari, but they run the trails that you sign up for, and they run the vendor show and the drawings and things like that. But the events, the nightly events, and those range from dinners to bars to Grandpa's Garage to Sunset Grill. All these events are put on by different companies, different personalities, YouTube personalities, different groups. So you and a lot of them are conflicting with each other. So you have to
Yeah,
decide, where do you want to go, who do you want to hang out with, who do you want to meet, and that's the one you go to. There's not really a central hub. Moab's got its own, or East Street Safari's got its own Facebook page, and you can see a lot of groups put information out on that. Red Rock puts out a lot of information on their Facebook page, but mostly it's, hey, I follow this guy, I follow this company, I really like them, and they're doing a thing on this night. That's where we're gonna go. So pretty packed evenings. A lot of fun, more stuff than you could fit into a week. And that was something we discussed later in the week, is that it was busier than what we thought. We didn't get a lot of time. There was not a lot of you and me time. But
there was not.
we kind of knew it going in, but I don't think we knew the level with which it was going to be. And that was by choice. We chose to go to those events. We chose to hang out, meet new people, hang out with some new friends, and get some of those experiences. I mean, that's the purpose. And,
Yeah.
we probably wouldn't have noticed it if we didn't come from different places and then have to go back to different places.
Yeah.
If we just, if we could spend any weekend just laying on the couch with each other, we wouldn't notice that we spent a week being busy. But so we try to balance
Yeah.
that out. So a lot of events. Then you had the vendor expo at the end for the last 2 days. And, I was kind of hot and cold about that. I thought it was okay. All the people we talked to were nice. There were some great companies repped out there, but I don't think Easter Jeep Safari is an event that's centered around vendors and selling stuff. I think is an event that is centered around going out and wheeling and meetups to meet people. The vendor event was
Yeah.
kind of secondary, honestly, to everything else. Where when you go to Daytona or you go to Pigeon Forge, the vendor part of it is the big part of it. That's where everybody is looking forward to going. Easter Jeep Safari, it's like, well, we got back in time. Let's swing by the vendor event, or
Yeah, and there were less vendors this year too. I mean, the year that I went, there was even vendors set up around town, and
yeah,
I didn't see that this year either.
I see
Let's
that.
go over to our next question because we're trying to keep this shorter. We'll see how we do, but
Trying, we're doing all right.
favorite trail.
All right. Favorite trail for me was the trail we did twice, the Pickle. It was the only trail I had to winch on all week. I was really bummed out about that, but with the crowds you have at Easter Jeep Safari, you can't spend that much time trying to figure out a problem. You got, as Matt says in Ozark Overland, you got three strikes and you're out. So I took my three shots. I didn't really like the line that I was on the first day, and I ended up on the second line the second day. And, after three tries, it was time to get moving. So we winched up. But I love that trail. In a mile and a half, you got three awesome obstacles. You're going through slot canyons. You're going up, you're off camber. You're doing a lot of stuff. And as evidenced by my fender back here that is covered in now pickle stickers, I am I ate a little bit of the gladiator on that trail. But to me, it was an amazing trail. What about you?
So it's hard for me to pick. I really did like the pickle, honestly. I loved how short it was, and I liked all of the obstacles, and like it was cool to challenge yourself. And but I would say probably my favorite trail this trip was Steelbender.
Okay, Steelbender, the one we did by ourselves.
Yes, yes, for sure. And the reason why is just because I feel like that's a great trail to really see all of the different scenery that Moab has to offer, kind of in with the water crossings.
Yep.
You're down below the canyon walls. There's actually areas there we didn't get to go see, but with different petroglyphs. And then you start climbing up, and at several parts of the trail, you're at the highest point, and you're able to look all the way across and see the snow-capped mountains. And there's even pine trees. And then at one point we were driving over a fin. There was some nice technical obstacles that you had multiple lines to choose from as well.
Yep.
And so you could actually choose easier lines, harder lines. You could try something. And, we were up there pretty much by ourselves. I mean, we came across a
Yeah, we
couple
were.
of groups, but
Well, we started the trail late. We didn't start it because we had to pick up your Jeep that morning from BFG Garage. And so we started the trail late. And the reason we were by ourselves is because we missed the group that we were going to go out with. They
yeah,
were all doing, Hell's Revenge that day, and we missed them. So we decided, you told me you wanted to do a nice, easy, light shakeout run for your Jeep. And I said, say no more. And so we went to Steelbender. We took the hardest lines that we could. We did every hard line on the trail. We did the wall. We did, and it created we actually had a really great time together, and our
we did.
interactions
We
were a lot of
did.
fun. You finally gave it
We
enough
did.
cowbell. You gave it the
Yes, that
cowbell it
is.
needed.
That was where our three little video clip series came from, of me trying to get back up
You trying to
that
get back up. I
that
love the,
obstacle.
what's your favorite quote of that 3 series?
My favorite, I don't know if it's a quote, but I was like, the whole trail, because I think that's obstacle number 4, and it loops around and
Yeah.
then you kind of back. I think the whole trail, I was thinking, I remember coming down that and my wheels just kind of slid down. And I was like, I wonder how I'm going to get back up that. Because I was, you don't get to see what it looks like from the other
Yeah.
direction. So I was kind of hoping it would look different coming back. And
It
it
didn't.
did look different. It just wasn't the different I was hoping for. And so I think that's my favorite point, is when I was like, I was wondering how I was going to get back up this. And then you said, now we're both wondering.
We were both wondering at that point, but that was a good
You
example of
were,
we didn't have anybody around us. So we could
no.
take the time to try, even slight adjustments, different angles, different pressure on the gas, moving your front wheels, getting your lockers engaged and all that. We were able to try a few things and you got up it. And
I
I think
did.
that's the advantage of being out on a trail without a group, is that if
Yeah.
there's 2 or 3 of you, you have the time to say, no, I think I can get this. I just need to give it a shot from a different angle. Or I know
Yeah.
my Jeep is going to want this line, not that line.
Exactly,
And
because everyone always wants to put me on the same line as everybody else. And I get that. There's a line, and there's a line that works for
uh-huh.
people. But
Yeah.
line that works for a lot of people doesn't work for me. I don't have rear lockers. I have
Right.
to do things a little differently. And I've been learning that because, I mean, every year I wheel, I'm changing something. So
Oh yeah,
once I
for
get used
sure.
to it. So yeah, so that was a great opportunity for us to do that. And also we're learning how to wheel with each other too. And
Yeah, for sure.
it's a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
all right. We got 3 more questions and we got 3 minutes. Speed
We're doing all
round.
right. All right, speed round.
Things to know. Go.
All right, things to know is they start putting this together. I mean, they've already got the dates for next year released. So if you are planning on going to Easter Jeep Safari, first start planning it 6 months in advance, or longer if you can. Second thing that I think was really important for us and the time that we had is know who else is going and make plans to do some things together.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of our week, of which there were many. One of our Instagram friends from Minnesota, Avanti Jeep, she had a whole crew down from Minnesota. And 2 weeks before we even went to Easter Jeep Safari, we already knew what day we were doing Top of the World, who we were doing it with, and it was awesome to meet them in person, right? So we had plans, and we ended up doing a couple different days and events with them. Beam and Builds, Deb and Wes were amazing people to go out and wheel with. Monica and Naomi, like the list can go on, but getting with people ahead of time and saying, hey, what day do you want to do this trail is important. Additional thing that's very important, and I think I would say it's maybe one of the most important things, is get the information on what groups, whether it's Red Rock or a company, is running what trails on what days, so that if you are not going to run it with them and you want to go out with friends, you can pick what days to run the trails when they're not quite as crowded. And some of them actually just get closed off. If they're an out and back trail, Red Rock will close it so that you don't end up with a bunch of congestion going both ways on a trail. So, do the research on that, follow them, follow RPM, follow all the companies that are doing company runs. And so figure out the best days to run what trails, figure out in advance who you want to run them with, and start planning your trip a ways out. And I think that that's going to be a win for you.
If you want to run trails with Red Rock four-wheelers, you need to sign up early. The trails fill up fast. And also, if you're running trails on your own, just take a preview of the map, figure out where you're staying. A lot of stuff is on the north side of town, south side of town. Some of the trails, one of the trails took us an hour and 20 minutes just to get to the trailhead. So do make yourself a little short, quick itinerary and map it out a little bit so that you just know how much time you need to plan to get to places. Because you have to gas up in the morning and all that kind of stuff. So highs and lows.
All right, give me a high. Give me a high. What's a high for you for the week?
I think some of the people I got to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the people I got to meet, some of those unexpected meetups, we ended up at a lot of events and a lot of different like parties and social events and even trails. We were trail crashers that one day. We ended up on a trail we didn't expect. The last day we went out with Beam and Builds, that was totally not expected. I think it was all the people. We got to meet up and wheel with so many really cool people that we've interacted with on social media, and to hang out with them,
For sure.
was amazing.
That was a highlight for me too. And one thing that you're not going to get on this channel is we're never going to trash talk people or companies or brands,
No.
because we're just not going to talk about them. So are there people that you're going to meet in events like this that you're going to walk away and go, man, I was wrong. That person's really kind of a jackass. Absolutely. You for sure will. So, we highlight the people whose interactions were very real and very genuine. And some of the people we've talked about in our 3 videos for Moab were just I mean, we we can't we can't say enough good stuff about, meeting some of them in person. I fanboyed. Remember at the CTI,
That
Meadow
was
Cloak
so
CTI
fun
ramp,
to watch.
right? I met
That
Matt from Ozark Overland, and he was the first YouTube channel that I ever followed. He and Kara, I followed their adventures. Kara runs the Rebel Rally. Matt they're full time. They do this full time. They make content.
yeah.
And I've just always really loved their channel. I've always really thought that they just seemed like genuinely good people. And lo and behold, I was right. I talked to them before the CTI, and then they stayed specifically just to watch me go and get what my score was, which was an
They
810, by the
did.
way. And then Matt came over and hung out and talked to us for a while afterwards, talking about Jeeps and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
that's how you keep followers. Be the person that you are on camera when you're off camera, is to just, and that's something that I think we try to aspire to. Is this is us. This is how we
Yeah.
talk when we're joking around and making fun of each other and saying goodnight and everything else. This is how we are. And I like seeing, people who are that way as well. So that was a highlight. What about a low? What's a low for the week for you? You know mine, so don't steal it from me.
I'm not. Know that there was really, I was a little like, obviously, I think my obvious low was breaking the Jeep.
Yeah.
That is always my number one concern, worry, anxiety. I've been really lucky that most times I break my Jeep and I can drive it home.
Yeah.
And I did break it on the trail. I kind of broke it a little one day, and then I broke it real good the second day.
Yeah.
And
You did break that real good.
we
Chunks of
we
metal
were able,
flying out of it. That was pretty cool.
yeah, we were able to limp it back, which I don't know if that was a great decision or not. I feel very lucky that we were able to, though. So that
It
was a
worked.
low. having the Jeep down. I hate
Yep.
having my Jeep down, especially at an event. And it was a little frustrating luckily I was able to get the parts I needed from Ford, but then it was a little frustrating at one point. But it also ended up being a high. Like I think BFG Garage, like
Yeah.
BF Goodrich Tires will have me as a lifetime fan now. I can't
Absolutely.
believe
They were amazing. Absolutely
yeah, I
amazing.
can't believe that they set up a garage in downtown Moab for days at the event and you bring them your Jeep, you bring them their parts, they will fix you for free and get
Yeah,
you
the
back
things
out
they
on the
do on
trail.
jack stands there is, no lifts. They just they got floor jacks and jack stands, and they just lift stuff up as high as they can, get underneath it, and boop.
Uh,
They had one guy's front axle ripped off. It was
no.
absolutely. They were very impressive. Just absolutely
Yeah.
very impressive.
Yeah. So
Good
that was
job.
also
Good job, BF Goodrich.
yeah. And actually, I'm going to be putting out a short YouTube about that. I mean, it'll be super short, but they're going to get a shout out from me because I'm still just amazed
Yeah,
that
still
that's
blown away
something
by
that
it.
they offer. So yeah,
Yep.
that was a high and a low all in one.
All right.
How about you? You said
You
not to
know my
steal
low.
yours.
You know my low.
I do.
I I I witnessed a law enforcement encounter that it really got me. So there's a lot of police presence out there, whether it's the state police, county, city, but the state police were everywhere. A lot of speed traps and stuff, and that's fine. Hey, it's a tourist place. When you go to Florida, you get the same thing. But we pulled into a parking lot, and a county deputy pulled somebody over into the same parking lot we were in. They actually parked behind us, regardless of whether we were trying to go anywhere. And this deputy's interaction with this Jeeper was respectful. Jeeper rolled down his window, did everything he was asked, and this deputy was the rudest law enforcement officer I've ever watched. I mean, he absolutely berated the guy because he didn't use a blinker. Now, I'll tell you that guy had better patience than I did, because if I'm getting pulled over for an offense that I can't be put in jail for, right? You're not taking me to jail for not using my blinker. Give me the effing ticket and get out of my face. Or I'm going to escalate it to the point where I might end up in jail, because I felt like the way that deputy talked to that person, no man is going to talk to me or you unwarranted in that way. They just don't deserve, they don't have that, right? Respect goes both ways. And this deputy was the rudest law enforcement officer I've seen in a long time. And just, I mean, talk down to the driver, talk down to the passenger, and no disregard to the fact that they blocked us in, which, hey, I mean, that happens sometimes in stops, you can't do anything about it, but just I was very disappointed by that, in a town like Moab, where everybody is so friendly and nice. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody that we dealt with at a restaurant, everybody we dealt with at an event, at a when we went to get Jeep parts, whatever, everybody was so nice. And that's the takeaway I took from that county law
Yeah.
enforcement sheriff's department. So that was my low for the week. Hopefully that was a singular event where maybe that guy was just having a bad day. Maybe his wife, or husband yelled at him that morning. You know, don't know, don't care. That's still no excuse, but I hope that that's not the norm for them.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
was yeah, windows were down. We were within, feet. So the whole interaction, I remember looking at you thinking, wow, is this really happening? Like I
I
felt really bad for that Jeeper. I felt bad for that driver. You could tell that that driver was definitely
Yeah,
shook
for
up by
sure.
that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Uh,
So
all
last
right.
question. We're already 7 minutes over. We're doing great. We're doing great.
That's all right. We're doing great. We're doing great. It's all fine. We're fine. You're fine. We're all fine.
Advice for first timers.
All right. Advice for first timers. We wrote that down as a question. We kind of talked about that a little bit on, like first impressions plus a couple other things. I'm going to answer this as if it's people that maybe have misconceptions about Easter Jeep Safari. Okay. One, and it comes directly from a comment somebody made to one of my posts on Instagram. They said, "Oh, I got to drive 1,800 miles. I don't have the ability to trailer. I'd love to do an event like that, but I can't take the chance of breaking my Jeep." Well, so I drove, the green machine behind me, the Gnome, 2,056 miles. April drove about 800 miles in hers. And the entire week, whatever we did or didn't do to our Jeeps, we drove them back from whence we came. And you do not have to roll into town with a Jeep on a trailer that has 43-inch tires, a roll cage, power steering, or not power steering, but like hydro steer, and all of the other things that you see when people are doing Pritchett Canyon and, Cliffhanger and some of the different trails. You can show up in a stock Jeep Wrangler Sport and have the time of your life and drive it home back to, from wherever you came from. You just have to be smart. You know your capabilities as a driver and know your Jeep's capabilities as a machine, a mechanical object, and don't surpass that, and you're gonna be just fine. There are hundreds of trails in that area that are not geared solely for rock monsters. And whether it's, rim trails where you're driving along and you're getting the scenic view up top, if the Colorado River runs through that entire area and there is roads, dirt trails right by the river for miles and miles and miles, there is no shortage of things that you can do to explore without breaking your axle, breaking, your Jeep. I mean, it's a Jeep. You take a chance of breaking by going to the gas station. It is it's the way Jeeps are. It's a little roll of the dice. Like, oh, today suddenly it doesn't work.
Come on, we
But
want to promote
oh
our
yeah, hey Jeep, we're just kidding. Aha. But yeah, I mean, I think if you maintain your Jeep, right? That's one thing that April and I are very good at is for those that follow, and there's probably going to be some content coming up. We take a lot of pride in maintaining our Jeeps. We are religious about our fluids changes. We're making sure that all of our everything that needs to be greased is greased. Retorquing, we retorque our control arms and all of our different parts on a very regular basis to ensure that our Jeeps run well. And at 81,000 miles now on that thing in 2 years, 2 years I've done 81,000 miles and 21 badge of honor trails and everything else. I have never had a major mechanical malfunction in my Jeep because I take care of it. I drive
yeah.
it like it's meant to be driven, but then I take care of it like I'm meant to take care of it. And that's your answer. So huge
Yeah.
misconception. You need a rock monster to go to Moab. You absolutely don't. Go there in any Jeep and have a great time.
Yeah. And again, if you're just bought your Jeep, it's stock,
Yep.
it's your first time, you're learning how to do that, sign up for the trails. Sign up early. Sign up with the Red Rock four wheelers. They will take you on trails. They will show you what your Jeep can do.
For sure. Absolutely. So with that, yeah, we went over by a few minutes, but not all that bad. We just wanted to close out our week. We had an amazing week. So to all the people that we had the opportunity to hang out with, thank you. Because Moab was one part of the experience, but the people that we got to spend the days on the trails with were probably a bigger part of the experience than the location itself. And we appreciate all of you guys. We appreciate sharing of photos and videos and events. And all of us are going through Moab withdrawal right now, shaking, like, oh, anybody got a little bit of that Red Rock, um, everybody is, and we're about to see a giant splurge, and everybody's going to now talk about Daytona and Jeep Beach. And, I'll be down there this weekend to see a few people. It's going to be a short trip going down there. Going to spend the day at the event on Friday, spend the night, and spend Saturday on the beach with the Shoreline crew. And then I'll be heading back late Saturday night, all the way back up to North Carolina. And
Yep.
then our next time you and I are going to be together is CJ. Our next time that we're going to be together is going to be at Overland Expo West in Flagstaff, Arizona in mid-May. It's going to be so much fun.
Yes, Overland Expo West in Flagstaff.
I don't even know why I try. I love you so much. You're such an amazing person. So
Well,
yeah,
I
that's the
was,
next time we're going to be together in the same place.
yeah, and I was going to say, I think I am heading out to Mesquite the first or second weekend of May before that to go wish Naomi and Monica good luck and launch them off on their adventure.
That
So,
is Mo Alpenglow and Bucket the Jeep. They are doing the
mhm.
Trail Hero X competition and they're a team. So we
Yeah,
are rooting for them and very excited for this opportunity for them. They've got some
yeah.
amazing sponsors who've gotten behind them, and I think they're going to do awesome. Those two have the best attitudes of anybody. So whether they win, lose, or draw, those two are going to be smiling and have a good time the whole way. And,
Right.
you can't not
Yeah.
when you're around each other.
So if you guys like what we talked about in the video, if you want links to any of the things we talked about, please comment below. We will definitely make sure you have all the information and we will drop links to all of the different resources, places, whatever information you need. Just hit us up and we'll make sure we share that with you.
And on the other side of that, if you like what you're seeing, like, subscribe, please share us. We appreciate it as we're getting started. And if you have any input, drop it in the comments. Give us questions, give us input, let us know how we can do better. We're having a good time doing this. This is more for us than it is for anything else, because April and I really enjoy doing things together. And this is a way to be creative, and we love it. So appreciate the support. And on this beautiful Sunday on the East Coast to the West Coast, we just want to say, y'all be cool. Do your little wave. There you go. Okay. You're such a nerd. All right.
Love me for being a nerd.
I know. Is this thing on? Excuse me. There are going to be dinosaurs in your dinosaur park, right? I really hate that, man.
All right. Until next time.
Oh, we were still recording.